Hi there, folks. My name is Charlotte. I am a film critic, I am a screenwriter, I am a script consultant, and I am a human being. My dangerous idea is the tentatively titled New Film Criticism. So let's see what I can do with 5 minutes. What would you say if I told you that our current relationship to art is predicated on an attachment to our helplessness? Okay, I want you to think of the last film review that you read. The language probably described the experience that the viewer had with it. Maybe Cillian Murphy was spellbinding and maybe Danny Elfman's score was immersive, whatever that all means. But what's actually useful to you there? Maybe another critic found Cillian Murphy to be dull and maybe they found Elfman's score to be distracting, whatever that all means. All four of those experiences are correct. Okay, they can't not be. It's their experience. But by that very same metric, none of those experiences are relevant to what your experience with the film would be. So why do we accept this as film criticism? Why do we accept the implication that anything, be it a critic, be it a marketing team, whatever, can define our experiences for us, as though we're helpless to define them ourselves? Okay, because I'm going to let you in on a secret. There is nothing in this world that can make you feel something. Any emotion that you experience from interacting with anything, including movies, is an emotion that you already harbor within yourself. Okay, nobody made you feel that. That emotion was just waiting to respond to something honest. And honesty just so happens to be a common denominator for a lot of great art. And do you know what the purpose of honesty is? To invite people to understand you. And that is precisely what the new film criticism is all about. Okay, it's about communicating the perspective of the film as inferred by the critic, thereby empowering the audience to understand what they'd be creating an experience with. Because if we value films based on how strong of an emotional reaction we have or how much it hijacks our systems and immerses us, then we are valuing it based on how subordinate we can be to it. And that is precisely how the cultural elites want us to understand value. Okay? They want us to think that the movie makes the experience so that we think we can't. That a film's worth is defined by how well it dominates us or how much of our active participation we can neglect on its account. But if we instead learn to value films based on the perspectives they introduce us to and help us to understand, we can reclaim our agency in defining our experiences, both with the material and with the world at large. Now you might be thinking, but Charlotte, isn't this all kind of clinical? Understanding instead of feeling something? That seems kind of detached from the soulfulness of art, does it not? And here's what I would say to that. Why are you assuming that the goal of understanding something is somehow the antithesis of feeling something? Is the development of our emotional ecosystems not directly built upon how much and how many perspectives we can understand? Understanding is empathy. Okay, that's fundamentally what it is. Understanding is empathy. The more we understand, the more we cultivate our emotional ecosystems, giving us more tools with which to define and contextualize our experience of the world, including those with movies. And so when we're talking about film criticism, about what films are worth giving our attention to, why would we not define that by the perspectives that introduce us to a brand new paradigm for our emotional ecosystem? It doesn't mean we start to neglect the value of performance or production design or cinematography, right? We just stop pretending that our nebulous experiences of those things are relevant to anyone but ourselves. But a film's perspective, as inferred by the critic, is a tangible tool that audiences can actually bring to the viewing, that's actually helpful to them, that's actually actionable for them. And so if we critics, using our media literacy, can help audiences understand these perspectives, we are empowering them to define their own experiences with the movies. And isn't this whole movement of ours about returning power to people? To audiences, to artists, to anyone who yearns for themselves and their fellow human beings to be free?